Hello everyone, welcome back to Turner Music Academy. I'm your host, Michael Turner. Thanks so much for joining me this evening. I just finished dinner, and we're going to be finishing Lesson 3, Part 3 of the C.o.5ths Master Scale lesson, or Master Melody lesson. And I'm going to be talking to you about the conclusion of that video, of what my initial intention was, not that video. And I will be kind of building off of that in another separate video, because I do want to keep this one short, because I've already done over 40 minutes of content today. And as much as I would like to make this video 20 minutes and put the whole shebang into a lesson, I don't want to completely go out into space yet, because again, this is such an advanced lesson that people that are on the brink of understanding this, or understand C.o.5ths or whatever, might get a little taken aback by it. Excuse me. So I really want to again just show you how cool. It's not just that music theory gives you a better understanding of music. It's that music theory in and of itself is power when it comes to being a musician. That is to say that, y'all know, or should know based on the videos that I've published, that I love Pink Floyd. So at the end of the day, like I've said this before, David Gilmour is the greatest guitar soloist ever recorded. But looking as a professional musician at, another set of musicians' work, especially in particular a musician, David Gilmour, he never broke out of the pentatonic scale for the most part in any of his songs. So Comfortably Numb was the first song I learned how to play on the guitar, and I said that in a previous video. So again, all B minor pentatonic. So it just goes to show you just again how important key signature is, understanding the key of music. And when you understand the key of music, what key you're in, and yes, scales are the keys to music, and I've said that before, but key signature in and of itself, then you will really be able to, again, just soar and be a soloist, or just add your part to a composition, whatever that is. So consider supporting the channel. Like I said, check out my other channel, Turner Life Sport. Like I said in the previous video, part 2, there will be a great vlog that I'm going to post on that channel tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a 55-60K on my bike over there. Say hi to the feather, all right? And we might be seeing some eagles tomorrow. So probably not bald eagles, but we might see some other eagles. We have golden eagles in Indiana. They're just so beautiful and gorgeous. And that'll be a great long journey. So I'm looking forward to it. And I'll put a link to the channel in the description, and also consider being a supporter of this channel and the other channel. If you're interested in artwork, clearly, if you're an artist, generally, you're on a musician's channel, check out my design studio at Etsy.com. We'll put a link to that in the description. You can get all kinds of works of art, guys. I do completely custom work to, if you give me a picture and you want this done in a painting with a specific style, like maybe you like Fontaine-Latour or Van Gogh or Cezanne, or you like Picasso style, maybe you want a cubist painting, I'll do it for you. So if you want to go, if you want that sort of thing. But I also have 53 pure design pieces that are the systems of design and museum pieces all across the world, that are really great, and personal work on there, 53 listings and renderings, and those are also available in 9 different sizes of paintings. Painting sizes are in the shop description, so just go over there and check it out and see all the kind of fun splashes of color that there are. So like I said, thanks so much for watching, and now I'm going to... All right, so I'm going to be real with you guys. Oh, wait. I think I stopped here in my book where I left off, and we're right at the 5-minute mark, so this is cool. Um, Actually, I said it was going to be 15 minutes, so this is definitely going to be a 20-minute video. You see why I throw time out there to start with? And I think I've said that before too. Okay, so here we go. Just 3 pages, or to fill 5 minutes of this section. So let's get into this. So the first is a story about a guy, and the reason why I'm reading this book is because, or my book that I'm writing is to really kind of clear up any of the previous knowledge for those of you that watch it. So the first is a story about a guy in that band I was talking to. And again, if you guys have questions or you guys want to see something specifically, just comment or chat. Or if you like my ideas, just comment or whatever. All right, just comment and chat if you want to after you subscribe to both my channels if you're interested, and like the videos if you want to, okay? So the first is a story about a guy in that band I was talking about. He turned out to be very immature, both personally and professionally. Sitting there, seeing him play the guitar, I was at first amazed. Very quickly, however, within minutes, I became unimpressed because he only knew chords and power chords, so he just played the same thing over and over again, all feeling no practice to give him any form. After a couple days figuring each other out, this led to the lead guitarist of the band, Sam, and I having a serious conversation with Austin, who was convinced he could play really well. Sam and I both told him he needs to practice and learn new things. So he needs to practice and learn new things, scales to start, and I also made the point that there's a whole galaxy of information he's missing, like I'm going to further show you guys today, that I say hopefully a lot of you are missing, because to me this is about as original as it gets. So Austin remained ignorant, and long story short, I ended up quitting that band within a couple of days. The next story goes as follows. I was living with a DJ at the time, and I was demystifying the guitar. Both this guy and me were working at a large grill, and we had rent to pay and not a lot of stuff together. My point here is it takes sometimes things in life to push you to learn something new. This, along with the other story, only happened with experience. I'm going to check the time real quick, guys. So we're at 2.5 minutes. So it takes a real tough cookie not to get bogged down with the cares of life when nothing's working for you. It really takes some heart, soul, knowing yourself, humbling, in fact, realizing you can do it, even though it doesn't look like it. I have another professional guitarist buddy of mine, Steve, who will tell you the same thing, and actually share 2 incredibly similar personal stories to mine. One about his brother not being able to play real well even though he gets paid, and he's 60 and only knows chords. And it's been like that for 20 years. The other thing Steve would tell you is that it takes something in life to get you motivated, just like I'm about to finish exemplifying. For him, it was the AC unit in his apartment or house not working. It got real tough for him there for a while. Sure enough, music was his way, just like one of mine, and birds of a feather flock together. What can I say? So anyway, I'm sitting in this apartment on a futon that smells like kitty litter with no food, in wet, dirty clothes, looking forward to going to the worst job in the world that doesn't pay enough in a couple of hours. What do I got? Check the time real quick. All right, so maybe 1 more page, 2 more pages, 1.5 more pages. I sit there with my eyes closed, remaining happy and joyful, take a deep breath in and ask myself in a meditation, what am I missing? Then it hits me. I see in my mind's eye all the times in high school, from all the relationships that no longer exist, every instance of someone in band saying scales are the keys to music. I had just cracked one part of the code. Long story short, this led to the door of music theory being opened for me. By the way, this is the understanding of what, as I've said many times, separates the players from the pros. Someone that knows, practices, and performs music theory, you cannot be great without it, because it really gives you the knowledge to know music, just like a horologist knows the inner workings of a clock or watch. this understanding on your part will give way to pillar 3, knowing how to write music. So let's stop there for today or this evening. And let's ground ourselves in this bad boy right here. Let me get my bearings straight here. So remember we left off and we are in the key of G major in 4/4 time. And what I've done for all of you who hopefully are on the right video here, but this is actually 4 different keys in one melody, and that's the point of this video. So to recap, like I said, I started on the grand staff, then I worked my way on the G major scale, and yes, I'm aware that there are I said there were 3 octaves and then I changed it. There are 3 octaves. This is the first octave. This is the second, you could say octave. So this is the tonic. This would be the first octave. This would be the second octave from our starting point. So you see how in theory, sometimes there's a tiny little bit of a gray area. That's really what I meant, and I did change that in the description of the previous video if I offended you. There's 3 G's. And in space, you could say there are 3 octaves of G. One is from the starting point, there's 2 octaves. So there you go. And then we know that this is, I've already said G major. We know that from G major in our circle of fifths, the 5th is D. So you'll notice, for this example, I ended on D, and I still made that note blue because we're still in our relative key of G major. But because then after this D, I put in a little rest, and this whole section here, or I put the bar and then it turns green, is actually in the key of D major. But it still relatively fits well into G major. So of course this would be our next sharp, which is C sharp. And we know that from our order of sharps, we have F, C, G, D, A, E, B, which we also know on our chromatic scale. And then flats, we have B, Joseph, and B, Joseph. This is actually one of the first things I learned as a trombone player, which is pretty cool. I didn't necessarily understand why. I definitely didn't. So again, and so this note is a C sharp. Then I have G, D, E, F sharp, and then an A, which is the 5th of this scale in the key of D major, right? So then notice I left on so I did this, I kind of did a little poem. This is a half note. I accidentally filled it in green. So this is supposed to read as a half note here. It's not supposed to read, that's supposed to be white. And I left it that way so it'd be open from the rest. But like I said, so this is a half note. So I have 1 and 2 and 3, 4, right? Is how we count that. So like I said, C sharp, G, D. Is that right? C sharp, G, D, of course, E, F sharp. And again, notice there is no sharp here because of our key signature. So this is another cool thing that that takes place all throughout. And you'll see here's some more accidentals. There's another accidental. The key signature, we're in the key of G major. So any point in time, I never have to, again, same basic rule, I never have to put a sharp in front of that F. It will always be F sharp, and I will always play an F as an F sharp here. Okay, so then the next note, as I said, would be A. And then from this note, even though it's red, I then I segued into the key of A major, which has 3 sharps or flats. And we know that when we start from C, we go 1, 2, 3, and however many times we count on the clock of our circle of fifths, that is going to be our key signature. So that's going to be how many sharps there are. So E is 4, and we see that here E is 4. Right? So let's go back to the example. And you'll notice that I did write out an A major scale, and in my melody here, I decided to use C sharp, G sharp, A, F sharp, D, B, and then back to A, okay? That's at least what, that's at least what I should have done. So I did C sharp, G sharp, A, F sharp, D, B, A, E, I'm sorry. So this, of course, is a low A, as we see here, right? Low A. So C sharp, G sharp, so 2 extra notes, and then A, which is the same note here, and we've already played, did we play an A to start with? We did. A was our second note here, right? And then F sharp again. So see, it's still, we don't need an accidental because of our key signature. And then D, and then a B, and D, we were just, of course, in the key of D, and then I put, of course, a B here, and then another A. And basically, to show you again, kind of like where this is going, very briefly. So within the third example, to build off of that, like what I did, so I put in a third, a seventh of the A major scale, a third, a seventh, I actually went to the octave, and then I did a sixth, I put in a fourth, a second, a first, and then I went back to a fifth. So basically what this kind of does is establish that, first of all, again, it's in that geometry of building on in music theory, that I added an extra third, so I went a little bit out into space from our key. Is that right? Third, A major, C sharp, F. So previously, what I meant by that is that this note, the third of the first note of the scale, was a seventh in our second key. So it's still correlating with what we were going off of. All right, and still a leading, basically a leading tone. And then on top of that leading tone, I put another leading tone to still lead the melody in a certain direction. And then I decided to play an octave, which previously was a second. We could say that because I played this octave here, that in our, so what I'm saying is that this A here is still an A, but this is not the second in our original scale. This would actually be our ninth. So in terms of chromatic theory, because if I come here and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there, that note is, that's 9 right there. That tiny little ledger line. Did I do that right? Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. There's the tiny little ledger line, okay? So there you go. And then, so our sixth was previously a seventh, and then a third in our second, right? So all of this builds on top of itself. Then our fourth was previously a fifth, and then a first. So this note is G. I'm sorry. This note was, I forgot which one I was even doing. Like, that's how far out I am right now. So I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so they shifted to the side. So this note was actually a third, which was also previously a sixth. Then I went back to the tonic being A major, and that's this note here. And A major was previously a second in our original G major scale, and then a fifth in our D major scale. And then I went to the fifth of this scale being E major, which previously was a sixth of our original scale, and then a second in our key of D major. And then I jumped to E major. So now we're dealing with four sharps, okay? And in E major, I put in a third, a fifth, a seventh, a second, a fourth, a first, another octave, and then a fifth. So I did the note of G sharp, B, D sharp, F sharp, and again, still there's no sharp in front because we're in the key of G major, so there's always every single F is going to be played as F sharp. A, E, I went up an octave here to another E, and then I ended on B, and I put a rest here. So here's the E major scale, all right? And again, like I said, I put in a third, which was previously a seventh. Then I went up to a fifth, which was in our original scale, a third, in our second, a sixth, and in our third example, a second. And then I did a seventh of that E major scale. And I did a second, and then which was in our original, it was a seventh. Second, it was a third. In our third, it was a sixth. Then put in a fourth, which was originally a second. Then a fifth, and then a first, and then I did a first in this scale, which was originally a sixth, then a second, and then a fifth, and then I did an octave, which was actually a 13th, because in our original scale, okay, and then I ended on a fifth, which was previously a third, then a sixth, and a second. And in theory, you could say that this octave was also a second and a fifth. I just did that because of technicalities stuff. And yeah, so to end the video, this is all of the notes that I ended up doing. And so you'll see in this example here that I did at the end when I calculated this scale, like the notes I plugged in, I have 4 B's in this passage. I'll do it from this side. I have, as of just calculating like these here, I have 2 G sharps in this passage, 3 B's, 1 D sharp, 4 F sharps, 4 A's, 3 E's, 4 E's, and 4 B's. So definitely stay tuned for part 4, where I'm going to do like a whole kind of add on to this lesson, a conclusion, and then I'm actually going to show you, like, count out how many notes there are and just how relative I stayed within my original key. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate your view, and I hope you guys are having a great day and night and afternoon. Thanks again.